We all know that getting sun exposure provides vitamin D, and that vitamin D is important for testosterone. When you are exposed to the sun, your skin can manufacture its own vitamin D. This works because we have vitamin D receptors that convert cholesterol from the body to produce vitamin D, and this is one of the many reasons to be getting enough cholesterol in your diet. Sunlight also increases absorption of vitamin D. So whether you're taking a supplement or eating vitamin D rich foods, you will get much more absorption of vitamin D if that is combined with sunlight exposure and exposure to UV rays. Now, many people have the excuse that it's cold or cloudy where they live, it's not a good climate, but as long as there is daylight, those UV rays are still present. A supplement will help you to maintain good vitamin D levels, but combined with staying indoors or locked up in a darkened room all day, it's just not going to have the same effect or be anywhere near as effective. Now, mainstream medical insists that the sun is not the best way of getting vitamin D, and that vitamin D from foods or supplements on their own are adequate, and a lot of people are following this advice. Now, it's not exactly true. Vitamin D from supplements and foods are certainly beneficial, but without sunlight, you're not going to get the full benefits. It's even highly likely that if you took a high dose of vitamin D and then sat in a darkened room all day, you would just not get the same effect. Spending a certain amount of time in the sun every day on its own without any supplement or eating any foods that contain vitamin D will give you adequate vitamin D. Now, if you're in a warm climate, it's probably not even necessary to supplement with vitamin D during the summer months. Medical advice is to avoid spending too much time in the sun and to always use sunscreen or sunblock products when outside in the sun. Now, when it comes to sun exposure and testosterone, this is awful advice. Why? Now, before I'm misrepresented, I'm of course not suggesting that it's safe to sit outside in the sun all day without any protection. The mainstream advice of not spending too long in the sun with or without sunscreen is good advice. Now, when it comes to sun exposure, things are different. Now, if you're out in the sun for prolonged periods of time, then get into the shade or wear clothing to protect your skin. Now, with or without sunblock, it is never a good idea to sit tanning in the sun for hours on end, when tanning an hour or two at a time is more than enough. And to get adequate vitamin D and for tanning purposes without damaging your skin, and being burned. Being burned will damage your skin. If you are red, your skin's red after spending too much time out in the sun, you've spent too much time out in the sun. Any redness correlates to skin damage. And it's not necessary to strip off and expose all of your skin to the sun to get adequate vitamin D. Now, when considering sun exposure, sunblock is bad advice because it blocks vitamin D absorption through the skin and suppresses UV exposure, a bit like sitting in an office with the sun coming in through the window. The glass of the window is filtering out the UVs, and so does sunblock. It does the same thing. Now, sunblock is packed full of endocrine disrupting chemicals and should never be put onto your skin. Just look at the label of any sunscreen product and you'll see what I mean. Google a few of those ingredients and find out exactly what that is. Now, you are literally baking those chemicals into your skin cells using the heat of the sun. Many people do this when they go on holiday. Now, sunscreen combined with sitting all day in the sun does not prevent you from being burned. I'm currently working a seasonal job at a private beach in the Mediterranean, and I see every day, especially in tourists from Northern Europe, that they're putting on lots of sunscreen, sitting in the sun all day. Often this involves drinking alcohol and falling asleep for a few hours, and they are still getting very burned, very red. They're literally glowing red, many of them, by the time they leave the beach. Now, Western skin cancer rates are high, not because of sun exposure, but exposure to toxins and processed chemicals. And by spending hours at a time baking your skin in the sun increases the chances of getting skin cancer. And many Westerners do this. They have this need to want to go home and show off their tan to their friends to show that they've been on holiday. Stupid, really. Now, the truth is the Creator doesn't make mistakes. We are designed by nature to be out in the sun. But as with most things, we need to be balancing that and neither getting too little or too much. Remember, the lighter your skin tone, the less time you actually need out in the sun to get the benefits. In people who don't get enough sunlight exposure, hormone levels, well-being and immunity goes down. Direct sun exposure kills most form of mold, fungus and yeast, which contribute towards many diseases. Sun exposure raises sex drive and fertility. It increases the mineralization of the bones. It helps with wound healing as well. Without sunlight, the vitamin D cannot be as efficiently absorbed by the body. Vitamin D helps to maintain calcium levels within the body. Sunlight builds the immune system and increases the oxygenation of the skin. Sunlight brings more blood to the skin surface and helps to heal cuts and bruises faster, and this same process can aid in exercise-related muscle recovery. Sunlight improves hormones and mood, and it boosts immunity. So try and get at least 30 minutes of UV exposure per day, an hour if you can. Now, if you are one of these unfortunate people that lives in a cooler, less sunny climate, try and get a couple of hours out in the sun underneath the clouds. It's going to be enough. If you're concerned about skin cancer, avoid the midday sun when the sun is at its highest point. In cases if you've got really pale skin, get your sun exposure either early in the morning or late in the day when the sun's not so intense. Never ever put toxic products on your skin. Sunblock, skincare, anything. Use tallow balm or natural coconut oil, or check out my video 100% endocrine disruptor free skincare for my own natural toxin free skincare that I use on myself. Now, another thing to do is hydrate your skin by drinking plenty of water. This will benefit you a lot more than using sunscreen. Staying hydrated. Never use sunblock, as it causes a lot of harm but does little or nothing of real benefit. It also disrupts hormones and can cause decreases to testosterone levels. There is no mistake in nature. We need sunlight. We are designed and created by nature to be out in the sun. Sunlight is good for your testosterone levels. Subscribe to this channel and follow this series for more.